I think of how absurd it is. And this might be the one case where that could be it for him. It's a state case.
Does it give you some sense, not of joy, but of relief at least, that he's potentially facing some consequences? Because as you've said before, this guy's a con artist and he's gotten away with it for years.
He's sick. He is really, genuinely a sick person that somehow has been allowed into our system.
Did Robert De Niro just end J.D. Vance's political career in under 3 minutes? The actor who made You Talkin' to Me famous just delivered a real-life verbal beatdown that makes his movie scenes look tame by comparison. Vance went from Trump's biggest critic to his biggest fan faster than you can say political opportunist. And De Niro just called him out with the kind of no-nonsense approach that would make Travis Bickle proud. The question is, can Vance recover from being exposed as a fraud by one of America's most respected actors? Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great! Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. Trump was referred to as America's Hitler by J.D. Vance at one point. It did occur, I'm afraid. Now he's the one who appears to be a prisoner of his own professional decisions as he stands behind Trump at rallies. Wow. Even Olympic gymnasts would be taken aback by such a complete political about-face.
We've heard you talk about the former president. You have called him a fraud, a con artist. You've said he's a New Yorker like you, and you have watched this brand of BS. Does it give you some sense, not of joy, but of relief at least, that he's potentially facing some consequences? Because as you've said before, this guy's a con artist and he's gotten away with it for years.
He's so, as we all know, so narcissistic and self-centered.
As we've seen in his most famous roles, Robert De Niro didn't merely critique Vance, he utterly destroyed him. People pay attention when Robert De Niro speaks, and he has taken his charisma as a mob leader from Hollywood and transferred it to politics. It's like if you're seeing Don Corleone serenely describing how someone has let the family down big time. From his roles as Jake LaMotta in Raging Bull and Jimmy Conway in Goodfellas, Robert De Niro demonstrates that he is capable of evoking a scary response, even when he doesn't utter a word. When he looked over at Vance, that menacing aura was still there. On this occasion, it wasn't merely acting. De Niro was deeply worried about the future of our democracy as politicians alter their whole ideology at the rate at which kids update their Instagram accounts. There is no way around the damning receipts that Vance has. This man went beyond merely disagreeing with Trump. He branded the president an idiot and a cultural heroine. Referring to Trump, he used the words noxious and reprehensible. The remarks of someone who was thought to have strong moral beliefs are those of someone who does not mince words. Those convictions, it seems, had a shelf life. So now we see Vance today, acting as if his job security is contingent upon how loudly he applauds at Trump rallies. Watching the footage is excruciating. Vance is there, head nodding in agreement with Trump's every word as he tries to persuade everyone, and likely himself, that Trump is now the sole hope for America. The change is so drastic that it seems as though a political body snatcher has taken his place. Not only does De Niro effectively call out Vance's inconsistency, but he also serves as a warning about the consequences of this behavior. Not only are we seeing politicians' duplicity when they compromise their ideals for power.
I think of how absurd it is. And this might be the one case where that could be it for him. It's a state case. And it's funny, I was just thinking that he actually became president. He could have done good things. Instead, he had to do it all wrong. I'm tired of calling him names. He just can't be anywhere near the office of the presidency.
But we are also seeing the real-time erosion of our democratic foundations. The alarm is being sounded by De Niro. He is not merely angry. As expected, the internet promptly transformed the entire situation into a meme extravaganza. Captions like "Goodfellas meet spineless fellas" quickly started circulating. To emphasize how uncomfortable and desperate his political transition was, people photoshopped Vance into various embarrassing situations. A political career is doomed the moment one becomes the target of online ridicule. In spite of all the memes, the line that truly gets under people's skin is the one that De Niro delivers regarding politicians compromising their ideals. The risk that arises when political ambition totally supplants personal integrity is at the heart of this scandal, which extends beyond the humiliating about-face of a single senator.
He's sick. He is really, genuinely a sick person that somehow has been allowed into our system.
You've played a lot of bad guys. Would you ever play Donald Trump?
Never. There's nothing about him. There's not one redeeming thing in him that I can see, ever. I don't think they really understand. And historically, from what I see, even in Nazi Germany, they had it with Hitler.
We should all be worried when those who were once aware of a danger to democracy now support that same danger. Did De Niro mention anything particularly noteworthy that has everyone talking? Using strong language, he criticized Trump, describing him as beyond wrong and a monster who wants to do the most horrible things. Not only was this a senior actor utilizing his platform to convey real concern about the trajectory of American politics, but it was also more than just celebrity criticism. Vance finds it most embarrassing that Trump treats him the same way, even though he has changed his allegiance completely. Even when his supporters have betrayed their ideals to back him, Trump treats them with contempt. The worst kind of shame is selling your soul for nothing and going unrecognized. Even though Trump can't remember Vance's name half the time, he has gone from labeling Trump America's Hitler to becoming an embarrassing prop for Trump to use in his background. The revelations made public by De Niro extend far beyond the actions of a single cowardly politician. When Trump snaps his fingers, even the most rational Republicans become mindless bobbleheads who nod in agreement. This is the whole Trump loyalty circus in action. Watching JD kiss the ring after vilifying Trump isn't the scariest part. It's the Democratic equivalent of a game of musical chairs in politics. This trend, as De Niro noted, is a microcosm of the larger issue, which is that politicians are willing to sacrifice their ideals for the sake of power. The democratic process begins to spiral out of control when our leaders prioritize appeasing their orange master over defending their former beliefs. It is precisely when politicians who were once critical of Trump become ardent supporters of his that democracies become something much less entertaining. You get authoritarianism with a spray tan when you choose allegiance to the big boss over loyalty to the country.